Hello students, today my topic is maintenance of normal blood pH. First, let me talk about some of the terminologies which will be used in the topic. According to Bronsted and Lowry's theory, acids are substance which donates protons, while bases are substance which accepts proton. Each acid has a tendency to dissociate and lose protons in a dilute aqueous solution. A strong acid dissociates, ionizes completely to give protons, for example, H2SO4, HCl, and HNO3, while weak acid dissociates partially or less, for example, H2CO3 and CH3COH, acetic acid. Similarly, strong bases dissociate completely, for example, NaOH and KOH, while weak bases, they partially dissociate, for example, NH3 and NH4OH. Hydrogen ion concentration or pH. Sorensen introduced the term pH to express the hydrogen ion concentration. The mathematical definition of pH means power of hydrogen, is the negative logarithmic value of the hydrogen or H plus ion concentration. So, it is pH is equal to minus log H plus ion. So, there is an inverse relationship between pH and hydrogen ions. H plus is the hydrogen ion in solution in moles per liter. So if there is a rise in H plus ions, so that means the pH is decreased, or you can say there is low pH because it is a inverse relationship. Similarly, if there is a fall in H plus concentration, so fall in H plus means there will be an increase in pH, or we can say it is high pH. Metabolic sources of acid, or you can say input of acid in our body. Two types of acids are produced in our body. One is the fixed acid or the non-volatile acids. For example, the phosphoric acid and the sulfuric acid. They are produced from sulfur and phosphorus of proteins and lipoproteins. Then the organic acids such as lactic acid, pyruvic acid, keto acids like acetoacetic acid, beta hydroxybutyric acid, and uric acid. Volatile acids are the carbonic acid. They are also known as the respiratory acid because H2CO3 can dissociate into H2O and CO2 is expelled from the lungs, and that's why they are known as the carbonic acid is known as the volatile acid. Sources of bases. In our body, the source of bases are very negligible. Catabolism of few food produces bases, for example, bicarbonates from the citrate salts, fruit juice and lactate, ammonia from the deamination of amino acids, but they are converted into the urea, formation of biphosphate and acetate. Vegetarian diet produces base as they produce salts of organic acids such as sodium lactate, which utilizes hydrogen ions, and so it will produce neutral or slightly alkaline urine. Proton outputs. Output means means of disposal of the protons. It can be through lungs in the form of carbon dioxide. It can be through GIT. HCl and HCO3 are excreted out through the GIT. Kidneys can excrete the unchanged acid, or it can excrete in the form of ammonium ions or in the form of NaH2PO4. Now coming to the topic, the maintenance of blood pH, or you can say the regulation of blood pH. This is one of the most important questions usually asked in the exam, how the blood pH is maintained. To maintain blood pH at 7.35 to 7.45, there are three primary systems. The buffer system, which is the first line of defense. The respiratory mechanism, which is the second line of defense. First line of defense means the one which comes immediately. Whenever there is a change in the pH, the system which comes immediately, that is the first line of defense, followed by the respiratory mechanism. So it is the second line of defense. The third or the final maintenance of pH is by the renal mechanism. It is the third line of defense. Death will occur if the blood pH goes below 7 or above 7.8. So if you just see here, this balance, the input and the output of the proton, it will be balanced by the buffer system, the respiratory mechanism and the renal mechanism. This is how the whole pH is balanced. The first two lines of defense keep the hydrogen ion concentration from changing too much until the more slowly responding third line of defense, the kidney, can eliminate the excess acid or base from the body. Buffer system and their role in acid-base balance. So first, let us talk about the buffers. Buffers means mixture of weak acid and a salt of its conjugate, that is a strong base, or weak base and its salt. So the function of buffer is to resist changes in pH when a strong acid or base is added to the solution. The buffer system of the blood, tissue fluids and cells immediately combine with acid or base to prevent excessive changes in hydrogen ion concentration. So when there is a change in hydrogen ion concentration, the buffer system of the body fluid reacts within a fraction of a second to minimize these changes. Buffer system do not eliminate or add hydrogen ions to the body, but only keep them tied up until a balance can be re-established. This means it will work as a shock absorbent to reduce the free H plus ions. It has to be eliminated by renal mechanism. So buffer system is just the immediate action. Final elimination of hydrogen ions is done only by the renal mechanism. pH is equal to pKa plus log base upon acid. This is the equation which is valid for any buffer pair. This is the general equation referred as Henderson-Hasselbalch equation for any buffer. So from this equation, it is evident that pH is dependent upon the ratio of base upon acid. Buffering capacity depends on the concentration of the buffer and pKa value. Now, what is pKa? pKa is the pH at which buffer exists in equal proportion with its acid and conjugate base. A buffer is considered effective with a plus minus 2 pH of its pKa. It has a maximum buffering capacity when pKa is equal to pH. For maximum buffering capacity, the pKa should be near the physiological pH, which is 7.4. For bicarbonate, the pKa value is 6.3. Phosphate buffer, the pKa is 7.3, while hemoglobin buffer, it is 7.3. Principal buffers of blood, the bicarbonate buffer, the bicarbonate, as in the extracellular fluid, sodium is more. So it is NaHCO3 upon H2CO3. So the it based upon acid, it will be HCO3 upon H2CO3. In the plasma, it will be NaHCO3. While in the erythrocytes, that is the intracellular buffer, potassium is more in the intracellular fluid, and that's why it will be KHCO3 upon H2CO3. In the phosphate buffer, it is HPO4 upon H2PO4, the ratio. While in the plasma, here it will be Na2HPO4 upon NaH2PO4. While in the erythrocyte, the intracellular buffer, it will be K2HPO4 by KH2PO4. The protein buffer, in the plasma, it is protein by H protein. While in the erythrocytes, it is the hemoglobin buffers. They are the KHB upon HHB or KHBO2 upon HHBO2. So these are the principal buffers, extracellular as well as the intracellular buffers. First, let us see the bicarbonate buffer. The buffer pair most effective in maintaining pH near its pKa. Here the pKa, if you remember, I told you it was 6.3. So it is not nearer to 7.4. So that is its disadvantage. But it is the most important buffer system in the body, because one thing is bicarbonate buffer is it is having the highest concentration, and second, the ratio of HCO3 upon H2CO3, that is these two elements, the base HCO3 and the H2CO3, they can be easily regulated, because HCO3 can be excreted via the kidney, and the H2CO3 in the form of CO2 can be expelled by the lungs. It is these two components are very easily regulated, and that's why bicarbonate buffer is considered to be one of the most important buffer. The ratio of bicarbonate upon carbonic acid is kept at 20:1. This is known as the alkali reserve. The bicarbonate concentration is, this means that the bicarbonate concentration is 20 times more than the carbonic acid. So the definition of alkali reserve is that the plasma bicarbonate measure of base remains after all the acids stronger than carbonic acid have been neutralized. It represents the reserve alkali available for neutralization of such strong acids. So whatever is remained after the neutralization of the strong acid, that which is available, that alkali is known as the reserve alkali. So body attempts to maintain the ratio of 20:1, altering either of the two. Either it will alter the HCO3 or it will alter the H2CO3, and it will try to maintain the pH. So the concentration of HCO3 upon H2CO3 determines the pH of blood. Bicarbonate buffer system is the index to understand disturbance in acid-base balance. So if we determine the concentration of HCO3 and H2CO3, we will know whether there is a disturbance in the acid-base balance or not. Now let's see the mechanism of action of the acid bicarbonate buffer. Now if there is strong acid, for example HCl is added, then HCl will dissociate to H plus and Cl, and this H will then react with HCO3 and form H2CO3. So the strong acid H plus of the HCl reacts with the HCO3 of the bicarbonate buffer to form the weak acid, that is H2CO3. When a strong base is added, for example NaOH is added, it will react with H2CO3. When acid was added, HCO3, it reacted with HCO3. While when a strong base is added, it will react with H2CO3, and the strong base will be then converted to the weak base, that is NaHCO3. Next is the phosphate buffer. Phosphate buffer, the base upon acid is HPO4 upon H2PO4. Phosphate buffer is not an important blood buffer but plays major role in buffering renal tubular fluids and intracellular fluids. The pKa of phosphate buffer is 6.8, which is close to blood pH 7.4. The concentration of plasma and erythrocytes is low, it is only 8%. So the buffering power is less than bicarbonate buffer, even though it is closer to 7.4. It would have been effective if the concentration of the phosphate buffer was high. The ratio of HPO4 upon H2PO4 is to be maintained between 4:1. Now let's see the mechanism of action of phosphate buffer. So when a strong acid is added, strong acid HCl will react with Na2HPO4 to form the weak acid NaH2PO4. While when a strong base is added, NaOH, strong base, it will react with NaH2PO4 of the phosphate buffer to form the weak base Na2HPO4. Protein buffers. Plasma protein and hemoglobin constitute the protein buffer system. Plasma protein buffer, especially albumin, act as a buffer. Proteins are ampholyte, that means they contain a large number of dissociable acidic COOH group and basic amino groups. They contain both the groups. So let's see the mechanism of action. In acidic solution, the amino acid act as a base and it reacts with the acid, that is the H plus, to form NH3. At the same time, in basic solution, amino acid will act as an acid and react with the base, that is the OH group here, to form H2. Other important protein buffers, the imidazole group of histidine. Histidine is the most effective amino acid that helps proteins to work as buffers. Albumin has 16 residues. Plasma protein accounts about 4% of the total buffering capacity of plasma. Hemoglobin buffer is a major intracellular buffer present in erythrocytes. Since hemoglobin is present in very high concentration and is rich in histidine residues, its buffering capacity is much higher than plasma protein, and even it has an appropriate pKa value. That makes hemoglobin the dominant buffering agent of blood at physiological pH. It buffers carbonic acid and its anhydride carbon dioxide from tissues. Hemoglobin works effectively in cooperation with bicarbonate system. So now let's see the mechanism of action of hemoglobin buffer. So in this diagram, if you see, this is the lung. This is the tissue. On the tissues, this is the RBC. Okay. In the lungs, the deoxyhemoglobin is carried from the tissues and is oxygenated to form oxyhemoglobin. The HHbO2, which is formed, is a strong acid. So after it combines with the oxygen, the HHbO2 will release the hydrogen ions, which are buffered by the bicarbonate. Okay. So this hydrogen which is released from the reduced hemoglobin, when the reduced hemoglobin gets oxygenated to form the oxyhemoglobin, the hydrogen is buffered with the help of bicarbonate to form carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, in presence of carbonic anhydrase, will dissociate to form CO2 and H2O. This CO2 is then eliminated by ventilation. This buffering effect reduces the pH change as a result of oxygenation of the hemoglobin. The HHB get oxygenated, and that's why here there is hydrogen ions are produced, and that decreases the pH. So this change in pH is buffered by the bicarbonate. As the carbon dioxide is expelled, so there is low oxygen tension in the lungs, and which shifts the equilibrium towards the production of CO2, that is from HCO3 to H2CO3 to carbon dioxide, and then it is expelled. So the equilibrium moves towards the production of carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is continuously eliminated in the expired air. As the concentration of HCO3 it drops because it is being buffered here, it is being used up. So this HCO3 gets reduced, it drops. So bicarbonate from the plasma enters the lung. So to preserve the electronegativity, some negative ion has to be moved from the lungs to the plasma. So chloride ions are moved from lungs to the plasma, and this is known as chloride shift. This is to maintain the electronegativity, as HCO3 minus is taken from plasma to lungs, and that's why chloride has been shifted to the plasma. Then in the tissues, as the oxygen tension reduces, hence oxyhemoglobin will dissociate and deliver its oxygen to the cells, and deoxyhemoglobin is formed. Carbon dioxide produced by metabolism enter the blood, where it is hydrated to form H2CO3. H2CO3 then ionizes to form H plus and HCO3 and results in the decrease in pH as H plus ions are formed. So here deoxyhemoglobin will act as a buffer and accept the hydrogen. These hydrogens are accepted by the reduced hemoglobin, and this forms the weak acid. Here HHbO2 was the strong acid, and here HHB is the weak acid. So the hydrogen ion which was produced from the H2CO3 do not change in the pH because of the buffering action of the deoxyhemoglobin. Now there is increase in the bicarbonate concentration in the erythrocyte, and that leads to diffusion from the erythrocytes to the plasma. And the similar way, like in the lungs, here also to maintain the electronegativity, the chloride ions are moved into the erythrocytes, and this is known as the chloride shift. Now when the blood returns to the lungs, where these H plus ions are released as a result of the formation of oxyhemoglobin, since oxyhemoglobin is a stronger acid which results in the release of H plus. And the newly released H plus ion is promptly neutralized by the HCO3, and this reaction is necessary for the liberation of carbon dioxide in the lungs. So that was about the mechanism of action of hemoglobin buffers. So that was about the different buffer system in our body. Thank you so much. Those who haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. and do like my video. Thank you.